All right, I'm doing this because of somebody off of my Facebook page. Now, I told them that all they gotta do is they're just Arabs, but they just put on like cowboy hats and sombreros, and he didn't believe me, right? Well, this is him claiming to be a Mexican, and this is an Arab. Or, yeah, Israeli Arab. Now look again. Him, a Mexican, him, an Arab. You think that doesn't carry over? When I Google these things, they also make sense as well. This is a Mexican man. That's an Arab man. Mexican man. Arab man. Here's a beautiful young Middle Eastern woman, or that's what they said, beautiful. Here's a Mexican woman. Middle Eastern woman. Mexican woman. Slight difference. A family of Mexicans. Here's a better shot. You can look at both of them, right? A family of Mexicans. A family of Middle Eastern folks. Slightly different. Here's a Middle Eastern guy or an Arab wearing a sombrero. Literally, I typed in Arab wearing sombrero. Can you tell what he is? Like I've been saying, all these people have to do is come over, put on a sombrero, speak a little Spanish, and you'll believe that they're a indigenous Mexican. And that's the other thing too. These same people would claim to be indigenous to Mexico. They look just like this because that's what this guy was doing on my Facebook page. And he looks all of like that guy. Quit playing with my eyes. We can see. Oh, and just a couple of last ones real quick. DJ Khaled, whatever he is, like a Palestinian or something. Some random Mexican I found. Not exactly. And I'm not trying to look forever for matches. Like literally, I type in like Mexican dude with beard. And I go down for like 2 or 3 scrolls and find the closest match. That's how easy it is to find a somewhat near match. French Montana, some random rapper, Mexican rapper, I don't know who he is. Not exactly the same, but not too far different. Back on these people who want to be Mexicans and how they look like these people, pretty much are these people with sombreros or cowboy hats. Now, before we get into the similarities of like the Mexican flag to the same colors of the Arab flags, I'm gonna show you a series of videos that people are thinking the same thing. I'm not the only one saying this. These people, but they don't know. They like the Mexicans and the Arabs are still kind of in the dark. But watch these things.
Dude, honestly, I didn't know we were that similar.
Yeah, man, our parents being strict.
You guys have it worse.
The words.
Oh, the words. Dude, how do you say this?
We say calzón.
We say calzón. Calzones.
All right, what about this? How do you say this?
Pantalón.
Pantalón. We say pantalón. No way, mashallah.
Okay, how do you say this?
Arroz.
We say arroz. Word for word.
Okay, this.
Azúcar.
No way, we say sukar.
Limón.
Limón.
Pretty close.
Like I said, if you put a sombrero on these people, you would be none the wiser, especially when they speak the Spanish language, which is almost the same as the Arab language.
I'm going home and I see the black gangs hanging out. And I was like, please not today. I'm not emotionally prepared to deal with this today. Please, just not today. And of course, they smelled that fear from a mile away. For real, and this guy comes up to me, he was like, say, Jose. You in the wrong motherfucking neighborhood, Jose. You done fucked up today, Jose. Where your crew at, Jose? I'm looking around for Jose. I'm like, who the hell is Jose? It's like, come on, man. My name is Muhammad. He goes, man, salam alaikum, brother. Shit, my bad.
Put a sombrero on them, or a cowboy hat, or make them a rapper, or whatever the hell, a cartel member. You would be none the wiser.
In Mexico, it's a very famous city, and it's actually an Arabic word for the valley of the small rocks. Wadi al-Hijara, Guadalajara. A non-Muslim Mexican told me, and then I looked it up online, and it seems to be correct. Allahu Alam. But we did utilize that in our da'wah.
Because it shocks people, and then they feel like, oh, I've been lied to.
Yes, why are y'all so shocked? Y'all don't want me to tell you the truth. See, when a nigga tell you the truth, y'all be mad. You want to be in the comments. When these people show you, let me continually show you. But before I get to some more videos, let's do a little bit of more what got me here. Shout out to Epiphany Nation and Opium. I'm gonna tag y'all in this. She was like, Opium, didn't you research the Mexicans, their flag, tying them to the Middle Eastern nation? And you know what? I didn't see what Opium did about that, but people, I've seen somebody show that, and they probably might have got it from you, Opium. And much love, Epiphany. Because even I didn't realize, because unless you're thinking about it, which I wouldn't think about it, I'm not Mexican. I'm also not Arab. So why would I even be thinking about this stuff? But it's like they're not even thinking about it. And then we think about it, we do the research on them. And tying their connections together that they either don't know or they know and they just hiding it, right? But you got the red, white, and green. This is the Mexican flag. These are the flags of the Arab royal, whatever, the world flags. Red, white, and green. The only other color you have in there is black. And you got a little one with yellow up there. Everything else, and you know, a couple little blues or something. But other than that, you know what I mean? It's the same colors. And what got me on this years ago, because I really did a video on this years ago, which is that one I recently shared that started going viral. Not really viral, but it did some pretty good numbers again. But I was reading this manumission of slave laws. This is from the 1800s. It's somewhere in here. It says somewhere, or like 1810 and stuff like that. And in here, there was a spot where it talked about reals. It was like, hey, you can buy your freedom, you know what I'm saying? The deposit of 100 reals. And I was like, what is a real? Looking into a real, you'll see the basic monetary unit of Iran, Oman, and Yemen. But that's what they were utilizing in Spanish American documents in 1830s. Real, the basic monetary unit of Qatar and Saudi Arabia. So I was like, am I tripping? Or do they got is that a similar word? Like, or why are Arab words going back and forth? Looking at the hierarchy, when you type it in, look at this. It says Real, Persian, Arabic, Real, Spanish, Real, Royal. So it literally is from that. Now, I was just tying one word together, and that already got my mind thinking. And people want to make it seem like you jump to conclusions. Even though these people, once you start thinking about it, these people look like all you have to do is put a sombrero on them. Like I showed you before. I typed in Arab with a sombrero. That came up. It's still crazy to me. Let's listen to more words that they have that's similar, that they don't even know. Now, I want you to notice something. She looks like a Chinese person. Very pale. She is a Hindustan-like person. Very melanated. What have I been telling you niggas? For the longest time, you can get straight-haired, dark-skinned people without ever mixing with a person with like us, with this. Okay? We're playing games. And there's still gonna be all kind of naysayers in the comments and stuff like that. It's in your face. If that was a male and they got together, you would get something like this. Now, I had to type in dark Mexican woman, and then you would think that that's the real Mexican. Oh, that's the indigenous. Look, her skin is melanated. You don't understand. That's why she's over here in Mexico now. Now, granted, they're not telling you that the Arabs came and some of those Hindus came. That's another story too. And then they got the mix in the gore, you know what I'm saying? Because then also they want you to think that she must have got that from an African. But still, they'll have people this old looking like this and say, that's a Mayan. Even though it's just the old version of a mixture of people who look like this, who's been around playing games. Okay? As you can see, the languages are very much the same. But they have other things that are similar.
Did you notice some Arab people look Mexican, some look Indian? Country in the Middle East, the most Mexican looking people is Palestine. Country in the Middle East with the most Indian looking people, Saudi Arabia. I'm Palestinian. This looks Mexican.
Now you may have missed it. because it stopped so quick on the end. But he said he's Palestinian, and when he did one of these little ethnicity checkers based on his face, it said that he was mostly Mexican, Asian, in America, and a little bit of Middle East. It went haywire.
How Arab is Mexico? I spent a few months traveling across the country, and everywhere I went, I saw something surprisingly familiar. You can see these grills basically everywhere in the street. A big meat stick being shaved off and quickly served, known as taco al pastor.
¿Cuánto pesa?
Sí.
¿Y este o este?
Los dos juntos.
Los dos juntos. Este 250 y este 100.
Which is very similar to my home shawarma. But how did this happen? You see, it all started in the 1900s when the Lebanese began immigrating to Mexico, influencing the culture and especially the cuisine. And they brought with them shawarma, my personal favorite Arab dish.
As he said, Lebanese were migrating there in the early 1900s. By 2020 something, some of them are just calling themselves indigenous, right? But also, I didn't even realize that they shaved that al pastor shit off like they do in the Mediterranean spot until he pointed it out to me. I was like, no, nigga, that is heroes. That's what they do for the hero meat. And I was just in a little Chilango tacos like last week and they had that shit in there. Sometimes this stuff just blows right past us. These people be playing. There's a part of this I tried to play on the end. It wouldn't let me play because of the sound. So you have to go watch this yourself.
I want to acknowledge the fact that we are right now on stolen land and that we are on indigenous land and that we are on original Mexican land right now. And
I love this stolen land argument.
Okay,
Who did the Mexicans steal the land from?
Actually, the Mexicans were there originally in Texas
No,
because
not correct.
Because
Wrong.
I'm
They stole it
sorry.
from lots of Indian tribes. That's not correct. Thousands of years before, they were Indian tribes. So the Mexicans
Yes,
actually
the Mexicans
stole
were
the
the
land.
originally Mexicans were Aztecs and Mayans. And
Well,
many
some of
other
them, hold on,
indigenous
Texas
people.
was not indigenously Mexican, though. There was the Cherokee. There were
Okay.
many different Native American tribes there. So Mexico was participating in Manifest Destiny at the behest of the Spanish crown.
Yes, at the behest of the Spanish
so
crown.
at some point, you have to believe in self-determination.
Okay.
If you can win the land, it's yours.
Okay.
That is what built the West.
A lot of Mexicans and Latinos are black people. I've met so many South Americans who are like straight up black, and then some I could tell they used to be black in their lineage. And I met a full-blooded Aztec one day after learning about Aztec people in elementary school, but I didn't believe him because he had an afro. He looked black. I didn't believe that he was 100%, but it turns out all those indigenous people were black.
The name Mexico was given to us by the Spanish. Gasparianga formed the first free town recognized by the Spanish. Therefore, Gasparianga, a black man, is the first Mexican.
Yo sí.
¿Cómo tú identificas?
Sí, yo soy orgulloso, me siento orgulloso de ser negro.
There wasn't no goddamn Mexicans. The Mexicans were goddamn Spaniards from Cortez when he come down here getting gold and shit from the goddamn Aztec Indians and the Mayans. Motherfuckers, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. I'm from fucking Spain. My grandpa's from Spain. We ain't from here. My great-grandpa's from Spain. We ain't Mexico. Mexicans come from Spain. So get y'all shit right.
Mexico is extremely racist. So we have what are like Guatemalans, even to its own Mexicans. So you gotta remember, Mexico was dominated by the Spaniards. The only reason I look the way I look is because I'm 65% Spaniard. Yeah. Mexicans, like real Mexicans, or which is known as Mexica, not Mexico, yes. Mexica, are 5'4", super dark with big noses and the heads pushed back. Aztecs and Mayans, like Indians. Like Indians. Yes. Well, we're natives, right? So we're blended. So the reality is, in Mexico, till this day, if you are not light complected, somewhat tall, you're frowned upon.
Basically, from like the 38th parallel, which is a little north of San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken, down to Baja California, those are all Negro tribes. They're not Mongoloid tribes at all. So, and then like my people and a lot of other Ohlone tribes, coastal tribes, they were considered the blackest. If you go look at the physical description, they call them the blackest people in California. And they even say people to the north, they look Asian, they look Mongoloid, and these people aren't related to them. These are their own characteristics. They got their own thing going on over here. So yeah, very
When
interesting.
you say Negro tribe, because I feel like a lot of the language gets confused.
Yeah, so okay. So you better explain that Aboriginal verse, or what we call now, what we're deeming now American Indian verse Native American, right? So back then in the 1800s, they weren't really doing all that until 1970 when it was coined for these Native Americans to be called Native Americans. Before that, we were called American Indians, and they were describing, when I say Negro tribes, I go off descriptions, right? So the description of certain tribes say, oh, they're Asiatic, they're Mongoloid, they have they come from Siberia. And then there's tribes where they're like, these people are Negro, thick lip, broad nose, high cheekbones, protruding bottom lip, this, that, and the other. So you start looking at the physical descriptions, and they say it over and over themselves. They call them Negroes. It's deemed by the colonists.
When people talk about the Spanish in Mexico, they act like it's one quick battle. Cortez shows up and the Aztec Empire falls. But the Spanish conquest of Mexico was a 300-year project. Spain first hit the Mexican coast in 1510. And in 1519, Hernan Cortez arrives with a few hundred men and some priests. He makes alliances with the indigenous enemies of the Mexica. And by 1521, Tenochtitlan falls after siege, famine, and smallpox. And from there, from what's now called Mexico, becomes New Spain. Indigenous people are pushed into forced labor systems, churches are built on top of temples, and epidemics and violence wipes out whole communities in the area. And priests are right in the middle of this. Some destroy idols, ban ceremonies, and implement the Spanish language and customs onto the indigenous people. The church became one of the main tools of colonization. But not all of them could live with what they saw. And a man by the name of Bartolomé de las Casas was a colonialist and a slaveholder. He watches massacres and forced labor up close. His conscience then breaks. He writes to the king describing Spaniards burning villages, cutting people apart, working them to death, calling it cruelty on a scale no living being has ever seen. And because of pressure from people like him, and Spain actually passes new laws in the 1500s that actually ban indigenous slavery. But on the ground, most colonialists just ignore them. They rename slavery as encomienda, or forced labor. And the exploitation keeps going, but it's under a different label this time. De las Casas keeps preaching against it, demanding new laws, and insisting indigenous people are humans and have human rights. All of this as the colonial machine keeps marching forward. So both things are true. The church helped conquer and control indigenous Mexico, and even inside that system, some priests were horrified by what they saw and left written proof about how bad it was. Remembering them doesn't excuse the colonization of Mexico, but it leaves us with this, that the indigenous people in the area in the time weren't overreacting, and that they were experiencing a violence that was so extreme that people even within the system were begging them to stop. And that's exactly why this history has to be taught today.
I'm not Hispanic. I've always wondered, why do us and Hispanic and Latinos look alike? The only difference I spot is they have better noses than us. They take the dub on that, to be honest. You can spot an Arab from their nose. As you guys can tell from the front, that should be mad wide. That's the key giveaway. And if you have a big nose and you're not Arab, you probably are. You have to be. There's no way.
Hoje eu vou curtir, eu vou me acabar. Hoje é só sal, só revoar. Eu vou dançar, vou me acabar de espirocar.
Arabs are the original Latinos. Okay, this whole concept of Latinos is a fiction, because you're saying the things that men say they like about Latinas, these are all from Spaniards and Arabs. All these genes that you're talking about, that you're fetishizing, they all come from people that are of Arab descent. When men say they're looking for like a Leng Latinas, they're not talking about, no offense intended, they're not talking about, a tribal woman from the Amazon. They're talking about someone who has a lot of North African and Arab ancestry, hence has a certain physical appearance, as well as probably some African ancestry as well. They're not talking about the white South Americans. They're not talking about the indigenous South Americans. Arabs are the original Latinos. Why not just go to the source? If you're a Muslim, alhamdulillah, why don't you just not go to the source? Why are you going through this like multi-stage thing of like this culture that's literally highly influenced by Islam and by Muslims and by Arabs? You know, Shakira is of Arab descent. Salma Hayek is of Arab descent. These are all Latinas, but the thing is, the selling point is that they have genes from the Middle East. Alhamdulillah.
Been to America?
No, it's my friend.
Oh, your friend is from Utah. Yeah, the weather. I'm from the South, so it's hot and just humid, man. Yeah.
What do you face Arabic?
I get that all the time, man. Everyone thinks I'm Arabic. They think I'm Sudanese. They think I'm Arabic. Yeah, all these different things. So yeah.
All of the ancient people in North Africa and Middle East were dark. More literally means a dark-skinned person. Arab used to be a swear word in Turkish for a dark person. All of the paintings and sculptures of Bronze Age people, Moors and Muslims depicted dark-skinned people. And now, 500 years later, you have a ruling class in North Africa and the Middle East. The city is not the desert, by the way. The desert people are still dark, who are Turkic, Eurasian looking people. How come? How did this happen? Is there any historical event that happened in North Africa, Middle East that could have influxed Turkic and Eurasian people? A 10-year-old can probably solve this equation.
Family residing here at Abu El Bidi, in charge of the sanctuary, were remarkable for having, with the exception of the father only, Negro features, a deep black colour and crisp hair. My own opinion was that this must have been occasioned by their having been born of a Negress mother. As such persons are sometimes found among the Arabs in the relation of wives or concubines, but while I could entertain no doubt, from my own observation, that the present head of the family was a pure Arab of unmixed blood, I was also assured that both the males and females of the present and former generations were all pure Arabs by descent to marriage, and that a Negress had never been known either as a wife or slave in the history of the family. It is certainly a very marked peculiarity of the Arabs who inhabit the Valley of the Jordan that they have flatter features, darker skins, and coarser hair than any other tribe, a peculiarity rather attributable, I conceive, to the constant and intense heat of that region than to any other cause.
Early Arabic texts describe the Prophet Muhammad and his tribe's physical appearance and demonstrate black-skin ancestry. In this video, we will delve into the Arabic sources regarding the description of the Prophet and the ancient Arabs. Many of the sources cited herein are found in an academic paper titled, "His Daddy Was Black, His Mama Was Black." So, a look at Prophet Muhammad's lineage by Wesley Muhammad, PhD. On the subject matter, Robert F. Spencer remarks, "It is said that the Quraysh, Arabs, explain their short stature and dark skin by the fact that they always carefully adhere to endogamy. The Quraysh tribe, comprising 10 main clans, was the most powerful tribe in Mecca in the 7th century. Henry Lamens, a Belgian Orientalist historian and Jesuit, who wrote in French about the early history of Islam, observed that the Hashemite family was characterized by black blood, and noted that the Banu Hashim were generally described as of a dark color. Ibn Manzur, to 1311, the author of the renowned classical Arabic lexicon, Lisan al-Arab, highlights the view that the term Aswad al-Jilda, meaning black-skinned, was idiomatically used to refer to Khalis al-Arab, the pure Arabs, explaining that the color of most Arabs is dark, al-Udma. The Lisan al-Arab also records that Muhammad b. Baru al-Adawu, DD 1193, observed that an Akdar or black-skinned Arab was considered a pure Arab, Arabi Mad, with an untainted lineage, explaining that Arabs referred to their color as black, al-Aswad. If you have watched the video this far and type #whitewash in the comments. Al-Jahiz, D 869, in his Fakhr al-Sudan al-Alabidin stated, "The Arabs take pride in their black color, al-Arab tafkar bisawad alan." Jahiz himself was from Arab Banu Kinana tribe. Al-Jahiz noted, "The 10 lordly sons of Abd al-Muttalib, paternal grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad, were deep black, dalam, in color and big tall, dukum. When Amir b al-Tufil saw them circumambulating the Kaaba, like dark camels, he said, 'With such men as these is the custody of the Kaaba preserved.'" Abd al-Abi Abbas was very black and tall. Those of Abu Talib's family, who are the most noble of men, are black, Moisu Yud. Citing from Fakhr al-Sudan al-Albidan for 209. Al-Mubarad, Noain 898. A prominent figure in the Basran grammatical tradition is cited in Apud ibn Abu al-Adud Shar Najah al-Balagha 56, stating, "The Arabs took pride in their brown and black complexion, al-Sumra wa al-Sawad, and looked down upon a white and fair complexion, al-Humra wa al-Shakra, believing that such complexions were characteristic of the non-Arabs." Muhammad b. Umar Barik al-Hadramu, in his book Al-Anwar wa Matali al-Asrar fi Surat al-Nabi al-Muqta, reports, concerning Abd al-Muttalib, he was dark brown asmar complexion. The Siyar Alam al-Nubala provides, when Arabs say, so-and-so is a bear, they mean a wheatish complexion with slight darkness. Hinti al-Laun bihilyat and Sauda. And if it is the complexion the people of India, they say asmar and Adam. And if it is of two couleur Negroes, Sawad al-Takur, they say aswad, and likewise everyone whose complexion is overwhelmingly black, they call aswad or shadidul udma. Source, Siyar Alam al-Nubala, 139th and 3448. Darul Hadith, Cairo, 2006. Donna Reynolds Marniki provides the following source on the matter. The Garib al-Hadith by Abu Ubaid al-Qasim ibn Salam al-Harawi, D. 837 AD, which is the oldest known dated Arabic manuscript on paper in Leiden University Library, and states, "The most prominent colors amongst the Arabs is asmar and udma, and the most prominent colors amongst the non-Arabs is white and red, pale white." The word asmar and udma are translated differently in different parts of the Middle East, but in the medieval Arabic grammar sources, and in modern Bedouin Arabia, the variants of the word sumar or samer mean something just short of black, while udma meant simply black. Dana Reynolds Marnich also provides that the 9th century Ibn Durayd al-Azdi said in his book Jamhurat al-Luga, chapter 2, page 650, and it is said it is not hidden that the meaning of the red and the black, and so the blacks are the Arabs because al-Sumara, Sumer or Samar, is in them in abundance, and the red means the non-Arab because al-Shakara is in them in abundance. Shakara means a fair-skinned or blonde person. Adolf Schreyer, a German artist linked to the Dusseldorf School of Painting and German Romanticism, was renowned for his portrayals of Bedouin men. While living in Algiers, Egypt, Syria, and the Middle East, Schreyer learned Arabic and deeply immersed himself in Bedouin customs and lifestyle, serving as an official war artist. This painting by Schreyer is titled Arab Horsemen on Patrol in a Middle Eastern Landscape. This painting by Schreyer is titled Arab Rider.
To my beloved Muslim brothers, you don't want to admit that there's racism in among the Arabs. But I've been among you, and I have seen how the black is treated. I was in Mecca at the Kaaba, and I saw a light-skinned Arab with bread, throwing it in the air and watching black women dressed in black from their head to their foot, fighting to get a piece of bread. And the Arab boy that was throwing the bread was laughing. I grieved in Arabia over such behavior. Please don't tell me you don't dislike black. You can't say that. Why was Bilal mistreated when he became a follower of Prophet Muhammad? Did not he suffer from your hands? Did not you make it very uncomfortable for him? When I went to Syria and they took me to the tomb of Bilal, my Arab brother said, "This is the tomb of our master Bilal." It was dirty. It was unkept. And I rebuked him. And when we came back again, the tomb was clean. I have seen those with doctorate degrees from Al-Azhar serving lighter-skinned Arabs who did not have the black man's credentials. When the Arabs went into Sudan, you mixed your blood with the Sudanese. And the Sudanese look just like the black man and woman in America. And some of them refuse to say they are Africans. They say they are Arabs.
Of course, because Arabs are racist as
Okay, not all Arabs are racist. But you do have to understand that in the Middle East, that's where the original slave trade was. So, you know, it's kind of trickled down over the years.
Sudan really exposed how racist the Arab and Muslim community can be. The famine and genocide in Sudan has been labeled one of the worst catastrophes of our times. But because the RSF is UAE-backed, many Arabs weaponize their suffering to avoid accountability for what their governments are doing to the Sudanese. And don't get me wrong, one crisis isn't above the other. But that's exactly the point. There is a clear racial hierarchy that exists in Arab and Muslim communities when it comes to empathy. Your solidarity cannot be selective. Both Sudan and Palestine deserve equal amount of freedom and activism, and no one is above the other.
Only for them to deny real things like anti-blackness in the Arab world. So we have an N-word in the Arab language. Most of you know it. It's Zinji. Zenshi in the Turkish language. Shout out to my Afro-Turkish people. Zangi in the Persian language. Shout out to my Afro-Iranians. And in the Egyptian parts, it's the Zingi. So this word refers historically to the Zanj people. Those were individuals that were enslaved and taken from the original land in East Africa, mostly the Swahili coast. They were taken to the Arab Empire and they worked there as slaves on plantations, the men, or as sex slaves, the women, and many other brutal things with very brutal conditions. Yes, there were Slavic people enslaved too, but they didn't suffer the same. And they were much more privileged than black people, which should prove you that there were a racial hierarchy. So the Zanj people even had a rebellion against their oppressors that is to this day called the Zanj Rebellion. You can read about it, it's very inspiring, and I love it as a Afro-Iraqi. So why the word Zanj? Zanj refers to a place called Zanzibar, Arab Persian word for coast of the blacks. Zanzibar, today known as Zanzibar, was the biggest trading hub for slaves back in the day of the Abbasid Empire. To this day, racist Arab peoples, not all of them, racist Arab people, use the word Zanj to insult a black person by referring, knowingly or unknowingly, to this part of history. But let me ask you another question to the Arab deniers. If slavery was known for everyone and it wasn't based on race and whatever, why are black people in Arab countries always been insulted with abd? I never saw a Slavic person insulted with this word before. So can you explain this to me? Yeah. Last but not least, Zionism and the Zionist state of Israel is not a friend for black people or black history, because there are a lot of reasons to not ally with Israel. But one of the famous ones is, back in the days of apartheid, Israel was one of the very few supporters of the apartheid regime of South Africa. So no.
Arabs have not earned the right to be racist. If a European says something racist to me, what can I respond? A Western European or an Anglo-Saxon, part of the Anglosphere, what can I say to them? Nothing. I can't say anything. They have a great country. We're going to their countries. We're living amongst their people. If you're an Arab and you come to America and you see a black person and you call them in a beat on the street like what happened to me, I think that's goofy, and I can easily call out the fact that you're a refugee to America. You're not even born in this country. You know, your countries are trash, and then you just cry about America all day and the West and how bad and evil they are. When you guys once were doing the same thing to them, you were conquering them. You were fighting them. But today, what do you have to show for it? Cousin marriage, literally nothing, crumbling economies. History doesn't matter. When you go to Egypt and walk down the street and you see the Great Pyramids of Giza, that's amazing. But what does it actually matter today? You know, that was a great archaeological achievement of its time, something that's never been seen throughout history ever. But their country's trash today. Their country is poor. They don't have anything going on in their country. There's no NVIDIA. There's no Google.